Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back here to the launch pad. Here at the pad, we cover everything space, and you're joining us for our live coverage of Roscosmos launching a brand new module to the International Space Station. If you're new here, take a moment, hit the like button, engage the subscribe button so you never miss another launch, news update, exclusive interview, or Starship testing. And let us know in the chat where you are watching from. You can take a moment and share the broadcast with someone that you think might be interested. We are currently sitting at about T-minus 1 hour and 4 minutes. We're just waiting for NASA to bring up their English coverage of the launch. Russia has been live for a little bit and is showing some live views of the pad, so we'll pull those up for you here as they prepare for launch of this brand new module to the International Space Station. It has been a while since we've had a new module sent up, so this will be launching today from the which launch site? Baikanour. Baikanour's Cosmodrome at Launch Complex 200/39 in Kazakhstan. The payload mass of the module weighs 23,000 kilograms or 51,000 pounds. And now we've seen before with Roscosmos when they've been able to do launches that sometimes they're able to rendezvous with the International Space Station within, a matter of hours to just a couple of days. This one's going to take a little bit longer. We've pre-scheduled all of our live streams to cover the launch today. We have the undocking of the previous module that they're replacing, as well as a progress capsule. So instead of just undocking their cargo ship, they're going to undock the module with the cargo ship, and then it can deorbit itself. And then it's about a week after that we are expecting to see the docking. So we hope you'll join us for those as we see the International Space Station get an expansion. It has been years in the making of having a new module for them. This is the first launch of the Proton M rocket for 2021. It's the 5th uncrewed mission this year to the ISS, and it's the 6th launch this year from Baikanour. And crazy to believe, we've already had 67 other orbital launches this year, so it is definitely picking up. We're just past that halfway point, so they're just getting started. But let's just see where everyone has been. Amit? Sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Yeah, the Falcon 9 and the Falcon Heavy look amazing. They're really special. Thanks to our good friend at Starship Balls for those. We're going to be releasing some information to you guys soon about how you can get your own. And don't worry if you don't have room for 5-foot tall models in your house, which, why not? You should. Living room, front door. There are some other scales as well, all the way down to, I believe, about 1.5 feet. So they're really awesome, incredibly detailed, and we're going to be diving into those on one of our landing pad hangouts in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you join us on one of those. Jude, been a while since this was supposed to go up. It has been a while. They've been making sure it was ready, the station was ready, and then just finding the time to actually be able to do it. Obviously, you have to have the crew on station ready to go and stuff there. So quite the day for it. But as we always do with our streams, just if you haven't yet, take a moment, check out our social medias. The biggest ones we always point out, obviously subscribing here on YouTube so you never miss a new update or live stream or launch, but also joining our Discord. It's free to join. Link is in the description, and we have an awesome community of people around the world that would love to welcome you into that and just hang out and ask questions, play Kerbal, and talk about everything space whenever you want. And if you'd like to support our work, you can do so through Patreon, YouTube memberships, or super chats and super stickers. And that's a great way of just helping us being able to bring you guys the best possible coverage, and all that just goes right back into the equipment, getting people on site, growing our team. That way, if I can't be down there, maybe someone else in Florida is able to, and we can grow this community, because the Launchpad is a community of people that are just excited about space, and we're excited to have you as part of that. In return, if you do support us in that way, there's some exclusive channels in Discord for behind the scenes or early access, things like that, as well as merch discounts for the TLP shop. And if you go into some of the higher tiers, we're actually doing some exclusive custom bomber jackets and different things there. So lots of ways you can support and also get stuff back, and we appreciate that. No times are tough, so it's not expected, but it's greatly appreciated. Yeah, don't want to lose an expensive piece of equipment. You're absolutely right, Preston. Hey, David, good to see you. So if you're just joining us, you're watching our live launch coverage of a Proton M rocket. We're at T-minus 1 hour and counting until liftoff, carrying a brand new module to the International Space Station. Hopefully those accelerometers aren't installed upside down again. Okay, Preston, you need to fill me in. I feel like I missed something. Thanks, Icy Lime. Yeah, we went through that late last night. Thank you guys for 3,000 subscribers. That's crazy to me. It was so appreciated. We're excited to see what the rest of this year brings. I don't know. Where do you guys think we can end the year at? 5,000? 10? Let me know where you think we can end the year at. But we're so appreciative. We got some big stuff coming up this fall, and that's just laying the foundation for 2022 to being an absolutely massive year. So it will be very exciting there. Jude, well, it was planned for 2007, so I guess a delay is a word you could use. A little bit. Just a little delay. I mean, SLS. Enough said. Oh, it really was funny. The proton flip. Oh, that was a proton? Okay, I remember that one. I'm not linked. I didn't even connect that to... Yeah, I remember that. That was... We might just have to find that later in the stream. I might try to pull that up, and we can all enjoy... After this one's successfully in orbit, then we can enjoy that. Bye, Meat. Thanks for being here. But NASA should be starting up their coverage here in just a moment, so we're going to just switch on over to that. Once they're actually ready for it. As always, though, if you do have any questions, you can drop that in the chat using the hashtag AskTLP, and that will ensure that we are able to see that question and make sure we are able to answer it for you guys. Well, centimeters and inches for NASA. Yeah. Yeah. Gotta love metric and imperial and all that. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm going to pull up the Russia feed here. NASA's just not quite ready yet. Keep an eye on that pad as they are preparing here. That's why the world should just use one system only. I mean, that was the idea. And then, like, you guys switched, and then everybody was just like, haha, gotcha. No, we're not switching. So you don't get to make these $1 million mistakes. I mean, it is a good idea not to make, multi-million, $100 million mistakes. But we'll see what happens. It was interesting. I'm not sure if you caught it there. In the bottom right corner, they had a picture of the module with someone next to it. This is not huge. When we compare it to like an International Space Station module for the U.S., these modules are still quite small, but I'm sure they are excited to have finally some brand new technology up there, replacing, I believe, which was one of the original modules up there. So just a Mars probe. Maybe 60,000 if I have done that right. David, did you see Bezos take off yesterday? It's hot here in Ellesmere Port, Britain. Oh, everybody's been having a heat wave this year. We even had one here. We're still in it. And now we got fires everywhere. So we went from really hot to now just solid smoke. It's great. It's fantastic. 60,000 subscribers? That's a lot of subscribers. I mean, I wouldn't say no, but we'll see. You like how Proton has 3 engines? Yeah, it's a neat rocket that we don't see too much of Obviously, after we've seen a couple failures, that doesn't help either. But yeah, it's a rocket we don't see too much of anymore. How much can it get into orbit without it? Like the Proton? It is a heavy lift vehicle. It can launch from 2 different sites. Its last mission was in July of last year. It can... Okay, here we go. Low Earth orbit, 23,000 kilograms or 51,000 pounds. So basically right on this. That's... Yeah, it's pretty much at its max for low Earth orbit. Geostationary, just under 7,000, 15,000 pounds. GTO, 6,300 kilograms, just under 14,000 pounds. And GSO, 3,200 kilograms, just over 7,000 pounds. So it is. They compare it to the Ariane 5, the Atlas V551, the Delta IV Heavy, the Falcon 9 full thrust, and the Long March 5. They've had 111 launches of Proton M, the rocket you're seeing on your screen right now. 100 of them have been successful, 9 of them have failed completely, and 2 have been partial failures. And the first one we saw fly was April 7th, 2001. And as I said, the last flight was July 30th, 2020. It's carried 2 kind of notable missions. One was the GLONASS satellite navigation system for Russia, and one was ExoMars, which was for ESA in Russia, and it was an astrobiology program. Yeah, without its 3rd stage. Let's see. I'm not seeing numbers without the 3rd stage. I'll have to look into that, and I might bring that back to the landing pad. Because it looks like almost all the time they list it as with the 3rd. Yeah, but good question. It was really hazy from the smoke here in Minneapolis. Yeah, we've had it for a couple days, and now it's slowly blowing over to all you guys. But I'm in Alberta, so we've got BC on fire, and we've got Saskatchewan on fire. So it's been a bit. Ali, I'm surprised we haven't seen many Falcon 9 launches recently. Yeah, so they had a delay somewhat because of moving the drone ship, because they only were then down to 1 drone ship in Cape, because they moved, of course, I Still Love You to California. That was a big thing. We did have that hurricane go through, so that kind of delayed a little bit of stuff, because they didn't want to have a rocket on the pad just in case that got a direct hit. But now it's been a couple weeks since that passed. So apparently there was a Falcon someone spotted on one of the pads. So they might have been doing some testing one night of the pad. But we have not had any finalized scheduled Starlink or any other Falcon 9 launches. But we should have some here soon. Yeah, they were supposed to be starting Vandenberg launches and Polar, Cape Canaveral, and Kennedy launches starting this month, based on their documentation to the FCC and the FAA. Both of them had a report. So they're definitely getting ready. 6 Polar launches from Cape and Kennedy, and 6 from Vandenberg. We've finally seen that 3rd drone ship, a Shortfall of Gravitas, has made it to Cape Canaveral port. Final preparations are being made on that, loading up their last gear and stuff, and then they all will be ready to go and start using their new ship. So I think they might be waiting for that and wanting to use that for some of the Polar launches, because one of the big things is these Polar launches, the drone ship's going to be stationed down by Cuba. So it's going to take it a lot longer to be able to get back to the Cape. It's a little bit longer of a journey, past a lot more traffic. It's not just straight off the coast. It's past quite a bit of traffic. You're passing most of Florida. So I think that's a big reason why they're making sure everything's ready to go. And also, we had so many launches, they've probably got a whole bunch of rockets in refurbishment, and they're probably just waiting to get some rockets ready. So, hopefully something soon. We know we've got Inspiration 4 coming up in September. We will be live on location for that, so make sure you have subscribed and join us for that. We will be at Kennedy Space Center for the launch. We will also be sitting down with the full Inspiration 4 crew here very soon and asking your questions. So you can send those in to us on Discord. Under our interviews section, there is a send in your questions. Drop a question in there, and we might include it as part of one of the interviews. Finally, wait this moment since 2007 when I was in high school till now. I already worked for 4 years. Yeah, this is long overdue, TC. Long overdue. Yeah, I don't think it flies without it, Preston. Or at least, I mean, maybe it could, but it seems like they generally fly with it. Have pirates ever tried getting on a SpaceX drone ship? Pirates generally aren't a huge issue in, like, America's area or Canada's, generally speaking. There's some parts of the world that I know pirates are quite a severe kind of issue. Not so much down here or over here. Here, so many people have boats, you'd never know who was or who wasn't, and Coast Guard's really active, so. But we're waiting for NASA to go live. They haven't gone live just yet, so we'll see what happens here. One of their schedules said they were going to start at the top of the hour. The other said they were starting at the middle of the hour. So it's looking like they're probably going to start at the middle of that hour, but that's okay. We've got Roscosmos feed here, bringing us some live views and actually a video of them getting the rocket ready. As you can see, since we went live, that very large structure that was next to the rocket has pulled away, which means the rocket is prepared. They're clearing the pad as well. As you can see, there's a lot less people around it, so they're definitely getting ready for today's launch. May learn some Russian on the way. I mean, I can turn on the volume, but generally speaking, I have no idea what to say. But as always, if you have questions, drop those in the chat. Can be related to today's launch or anything space, and we'll be answering those live. And if you'd like to help support the channel, check out Patreon or join as a YouTube member. It starts at $1.99 and helps the channel go a long way in being able to continue expanding and bringing you guys the best possible coverage. Hopefully, maybe we can finally get some people on the ground in Russia. We'll have to see. But we'd love to have some of our team at basically every launch at every site. So we're excited to be growing to that and bringing that to you here over the next years as we grow. If you're just joining us, you're watching our live launch coverage of a Proton M rocket from Baikanour Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. Russia is preparing to replace their PIRS module of the International Space Station with the Nauka module. Something long overdue. Finally ready. Finally on a rocket. And we'll be launching today. In 2 days, they will be undocking the old module, and then about a week after that, the new module will dock and make its new home at the International Space Station. Hey, Virginia, good to see you. How's it going? If you had a choice, for which aerospace company would you work for? Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think SpaceX would be amazing because I think they work so rapidly that you probably never really know what the next 6 months or year is going to hold. You're always working on something new. I think that would be really fun. But I also think there's some of the smaller companies. Relativity Space is one I think would be really exciting to work on. They seem like a really awesome group of people, working on some really awesome tech. Rocket Lab as well. So if I was going like huge company, SpaceX. If I was going, kind of small to new, probably Rocket Lab or Relativity. I think would be a lot of fun, amazing learning experience of what they're doing. Relativity Space, if you don't know about them, we're working on some guide videos for you guys, but Relativity Space is 3D printing everything of the engine, and they're fully reusable. So really amazing technology that they've made there. They're 3D printing metal, which is so cool. I'm excited for all the small sat launches that are coming up. I heard some British companies are working to get reusable rockets made for it. Yeah, there's a lot of small launches coming up. Small sat launchers, small sat companies. We're working on some guide videos, kind of, quick, few minute videos that dive into each company. That way, if you want to refresh on a company, you can go watch kind of that company spotlight video. So we're working on those. We're collecting all the companies that we're thinking are the ones to focus on right now. But as we hear of more, we were live a couple days ago, and some people dropped some names of other ones in that we had never heard of. So lots of up and coming. We really are entering a major space race of the nations, but also of the main space companies. But that's opening up because the main space companies are focusing on larger missions. It's opening up a whole new sector of people launching small satellites. They're not near as expensive anymore to launch a CubeSat, and people are wanting to do that. Virginia, okay, just woke up having coffee. Coffee sounds good. I'm going to have to make one after this. NASA just moved the Dragon capsule to make room for the Russian module. Not for the Russian module. They moved so on the International Space Station, they moved the cargo Dragon from the kind of side dock to the upper dock because they're making way for the Starliner mission that will be live for on July 30th. It'll be coming up and it'll dock a few days later, but it'll come up and dock to that side one. I don't know why it couldn't just dock to the top one. It's a test module. I get, like, if they have people or cargo, they like the straight access. It's just a little easier for unloading, but it's a test, so I don't know. And then they're gonna have to move Crew Dragon again in a month or two because there's a CRS mission, and the CRS mission will come, so they'll separate, and then that will come there, and then they'll have to leave, and then another crew comes, and it's getting busy. They need some more docking ports on the International Space Station. But not for this. For this one, this is going to attach to the Russian segment of the space station. There is a Roscosmos, I believe, Progress capsule that is attached to the PRS module. Instead of undocking just the cargo capsule, they're going to actually undock the module, and then the cargo capsule will be able to pull that module away and then burn that up in the atmosphere. 3D printing engines is difficult. Have they disclosed what injectors? So they have made all of their own technology from the ground up. They just bought a massive new facility in Long Beach, California, which is really awesome that some stuff's opening up on the West Coast. Really starting to see some bigger space hubs across the country. So that's exciting to see. If you go back, we did a video probably about 2 weeks ago when they announced their new big facility. If you go in there, there's some photos and videos of the injectors. So definitely take a look at that. They're quite amazing. Virginia read an article that Rocket Lab Electron problems is fixed and be launching soon. Yes, they finally have completed their investigation. Peter Beck had said that probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, but now they've actually released some detailed information on that. And it turns out there was some issues with a computer during launch that did something. It was like a multi-system thing that was out of scope of what they would have expected could have happened. So, but they had identified the issue. It sounded like within like a week or so, which is good to hear. It wasn't something that they couldn't find, that then they have to hold the rocket and research it all. So hopefully they found a solution and we will see Electron back on the pad. For how many missions they've done for a new rocket, they're doing pretty good. They've really only had the 2 failed missions, which isn't bad. And this one they still got to orbit. It was just an issue after. So, or at least I believe they got to orbit. Pretty sure they got to orbit on this last one. Virginia, is Russia still thinking about building their own space station and leaving the ISS? No. They have told the Russian Roscosmos president, I believe it was, a couple months ago, was at a conference, told them no. There was no plans of, leaving the ISS. At this time, they like it. I think as we see the Russian one grow, and now that Russia and China are working on a moon base station, it's inevitable. Eventually they will. I think they get a lot of support from the ISS for just systems. Like if you think about power and everything that the ISS has and the upgrades it's doing, they would have to launch a lot of stuff to be able to build their own station, a lot of their own satellites. Now there was a space station called Ross that was designed, and basically it would be a number of the components of the ISS that are the Russian ones would separate off. New modules would dock, and it kind of went into a T shape and then had panels on the top. In the next 10 years, probably. Next 5 years, maybe. But we'll see what happens. It's possible they stay at the International Space Station and still launch their own space station, too. But I think we would have heard about some modules being made by now, because modules take a while. They take a fair bit of time. NASA moves SpaceX Crew Dragon Endeavour to make room for Boeing. Yeah, test flight 2. Russian mission launching today brings its own docking adapter with a new station component. Yes. Yeah, it's quite the mission, kind of replacing that whole big unit. We're going to need PlayStation. Well, I've said for quite a while before everything really started, everything started picking up really in the last 18 months. You know, DM2 really kicked it off, and now it's just rapid advancement. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, either we will see NASA transition, or we will see a new entity form that basically becomes Space Command, Space Mission Control. You know, we have air traffic control, and it's not that it's necessarily a place that, you know, okay, you can descend to 150,000 kilometers, you know, or any, maybe it's not like that, but it's a one-stop place that it's easy to track everything. Because, sure, the big agencies have no issue tracking everything. All the small agencies and small sat launchers, like you guys were mentioning, have to be able to know where everything is so they can successfully launch. So I think we could see something developing there. It's definitely getting busy. The space station, if Starliner launches, and I'm saying if because it didn't work last time, if Starliner gets the International Space Station, it'll be the first time in history that 2 American capsules of different models will be at the International Space Station at the same time. And also on top of that, there's a Russian module. So we will now have 3 capsules at the International Space Station at a time. In 3-4 years, we're expecting to see Dream Chaser as well. So there's a possibility that we could even see a 4th. So it is getting busy, and they're going to need some new stuff and need some organization and stuff like that. Thanks for the English comment. NASA expected. Yep, absolutely, Kenneth. We've got them pulled up. They're playing a video about Hubble, I think, or something. I've got them pulled up, so we will pull over the English commentary from NASA, but we'll be here answering your questions until that and through it. But if you're just joining us, you're watching our live launch coverage of the Proton M rocket carrying a brand new module to the International Space Station, launching from the Baikanour Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. But this is a Roscosmos mission. First Proton we've seen in a while, since last July actually, so it's been about a year for it. So it would require hardware on the rockets, on the satellites. Maybe. Yeah. Oh, I see. I missed a comment here. Space Mission Control would probably not work. It would require... Okay. It's hard to know. Like, it might not work on the old stuff, but the new stuff, it wouldn't necessarily be hard to be like, here, put this chip on your thing. But I don't think they necessarily have to have control of everything, but just having, like, a communication hub, I think would be maybe helpful. I know we have tech for tracking stuff, too, so, like, you can track stuff pretty easily these days. But, if it gets this busy and we start seeing a lot of these private missions, like, it's going to get busy. Luckily, we don't have to worry about New Shepard or Virgin Galactic going orbital, so that's less of an issue. But if we start seeing any more of these Crew Dragon private missions that are just, you know, floating around too, it can get busy up there. Though there's a lot of space in space, there's also not. So definitely something to watch there. But as always here on the Launchpad, if you have questions, you can drop those in the chat using the hashtag AskTLP. We'll continue to answer those here. Can be related to today's launch or just space in general. And if you haven't yet, take a moment and engage that subscribe button. It really does help the channel out. And if you like what you're seeing and enjoying what I do, you can hit that like button on the video. That lets YouTube know, hey, I actually like this. Maybe other people would too, and share it. So liking and subscribing is a great free way of being able to support the channel, and we appreciate that. Not for the Long March booster, no. The Long March booster we have no hope of tracking. Right, because they have the antennas. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it depends what the kind of item is and things like that. It would obviously be a big change to systems and how space works. But if we start seeing a lot more private stuff, I think we're going to have to... Maybe not everything goes through it, but I think we could see some stuff going through it. Especially if New Glenn eventually gets there to be throwing or launching their New Glenn rocket with their crew capsule for private flights. It would be interesting. Kenneth, have you seen a launch in person? No. No, I have not. Not yet. I've been at Kennedy Space Center in 2004 when I was 10? 11. No shuttles were on the pad, but we did get to go on a kind of a VIP tour, level 9 tour of Kennedy, and actually drive kind of all over Kennedy Space Center, which was so incredible. Got really close to some of the pads and got out and take some pictures there. Obviously, technology in 2004 was very different than it is now, so those photos are on some old PC somewhere in the house, but hopefully we will find those soon. But this fall, September, I will be heading down not only to Kennedy Space Center, but also to Houston for Johnson Space Center and Starbase. So if I'm lucky, I am guaranteed a Falcon 9 launch on September, hopefully 15th, as we will be live covering the Inspiration 4 launch. I've been invited down for that. So excited that's going to be, the first all-civilian mission to space is going to be my first launch. So super excited about that. And, of course, we'll be live streaming that for you guys. Bunch of other stuff we got planned for while we're down there. And then I'm hopping on over to Texas. We're going to spend a week at Starbase. And if things are going at the rate they're going right now, we might be lucky enough that the orbital launch attempt of Starship occurs at that time, or maybe at least has a rocket on the pad. So hopefully we'll be able to see that, but we'll be live streaming, of course, from there. Lots of other plans while we're down there. And then just before I head home, I'm flying out of Houston, so we're driving up a little bit earlier for our flight to go drop into Johnson Space Center, which we're hoping will be opened up a little bit more so that we can do that mission control walkthrough, but hopefully be able to bring some of that to you guys as well. Let me know in the comments, have you guys seen rocket launches? When I was at Kennedy as a kid, they had, I believe it was Hurricane Andrew, but 4 months earlier, and the VAB actually had some severe damage to it. The side big doors actually had lost a number of panels, which, I'm sad for them that they had to repair those, but it was good for me because we could peer in as they were preparing a shuttle, and we were able to see the foot of some solid rocket boosters, so that was quite interesting to see. What do you think about Blue Origin still not delivering their engines? Goes on a joyride. Now that they got that out of the way, maybe they can focus. We'll see what happens. But Tori Bruno has kind of pushed that away a few times, saying, like, there's a lot of things going on. Obviously he wants his engines, but I think he would start saying something if it was a bigger issue. Morning, George. Good to see you. Kenneth, you can have a better chance now that the frequency. I live near Kennedy Space Center. What I've not done is seen one on the property. Choo-choo from the first stop. That's awesome, Kenneth. Well, we're coming down September 13th, I think it is, for about a week. And we're hoping to, if everything stays good with numbers and cases in the region, do some sort of meetup down there for lunch or something at Kennedy or in the region. So if you join the Discord or just stay connected through streams, we'll be releasing some more information on that closer to it, because we'd love to, just see some of the Launchpad community there together. So whether it's the day before or who knows what. Hey, Ander1, good to see you. The VAB previous lost 820 panels from the south wall during Hurricane Francis, and 25 more off the east wall during Hurricane. Yep, that was it. So it would have been Hurricane Jean then. When was Francis? Was Francis both? Were they both in September? Hey Zebediah, good to see ya. Thanks for being here. That they'll deliver the engines when New Glen's online or close to online. That's a possibility. I could see that. Maybe, yeah. So we're just waiting for NASA to pull up their stream here. They should be starting any second, so we will pull that up the moment that it's ready for you guys. That way we can listen into the English coverage. And then we'll continue answering your questions. If you're just joining us, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the Launchpad. Here at the pad, we just cover absolutely everything space. Space flight, space engineering, the future of space. You're watching our live launch coverage of a new multi-purpose laboratory for Baikanour, Kazakhstan, a new Russian module for the International Space Station. So make sure you've engaged that subscribe button and like the video, helps us out. And stick around. We are coming up at about T-minus just over 30 minutes for liftoff of the Proton M. Not docking today or anything, so it won't be live too much longer after launch, but definitely stay with us for that. Nighttime is awesome. You can see it landing even if it's on the drone ship. That's cool. Yeah. One of our good friends and partners in the channel, Marcus, is in Florida. He's up home for the summer, but is down at Florida and has done a couple Starlink coverages with us, and has done some awesome street photography from kind of 30 miles away as well. So we're definitely keeping an eye on that. And it looks... Oh, sorry about that. There we go. They're starting up their stream here. So we'll transition over. And we're just going to turn them... Here we go.
Live at Launchpad 39 on Launch Complex 200 at the Baikanour Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, where a 190-foot-tall Proton M rocket stands fully fueled with unsymmetrical dimethylhydrazine and nitrogen tetroxide, ready for launch in about 28 minutes to send a new module to the International Space Station, the long-awaited launch of the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module. This launch has been a long time coming, and everything is all set to send the MLM, as it is known, the multi-purpose laboratory module, on an 8-day journey for a docking on July 29th to the Earth-facing port of the Russian segment of the International Space Station currently occupied by the Pirs docking compartment. We'll talk about the sequencing of events in just a moment. The multipurpose laboratory module will support many services and functions throughout the course of its lifetime. It will provide roll control for the International Space Station, a propellant transfer capability between Progress vehicles and the Zvezda service module and Zarya module propulsion systems. It'll provide a docking port for Soyuz and Progress vehicles, a docking capability for a new multi-docking port called the Node module that is scheduled for launch later this year, the delivery and operation of a European robotic arm that will service scientific and other utilization purposes on the exterior of the International Space Station. The multipurpose laboratory module will also provide an additional crew quarters, an additional toilet, additional electron oxygen generation capability, a deployable radiator, and will serve as an airlock for future Russian spacewalks currently accommodated by the Poisk module. The Proton rocket that is fully fueled and ready for launch to send the MLM on its way is a 3-staged rocket. This is the 3rd time a Proton rocket has been used to launch modules to the International Space Station. The very first element, the Zarya module, or Functional Cargo Block, FGB, was launched on November 20th, 1998 to begin the era of the International Space Station. And then on July 12, 2000, the Zvezda service module launched from this same complex that the current Proton is on, ready for launch in just a few minutes to send the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module on its way. The first stage of the Proton M uses 6 RD-275 engines, providing almost 2 million pounds of thrust. They will burn for about 2 minutes and 4 seconds before first stage separation occurs at an altitude of about 26 statute miles, with the Proton traveling 3,900 miles an hour. The Proton's 6 first stage engines that you see with strap-on boosters, those are actually fuel tanks, not solid rockets. They're fuel tanks. It's all hypergulls for the Proton M. They're all integrated into the first stage propulsion system. 4 second stage engines, 3 RD-210s and 1 RD-211, will ignite a second or two prior to first stage separation and will burn for about 3.5 minutes, providing 539,000 pounds of thrust. The second stage separation occurs at the 5-minute 31-second mark into the flight as the Proton reaches an altitude of 75 miles, traveling almost 10,000 miles an hour. The payload fairing that encapsulates the Nauka module will separate in a clamshell fashion 13 seconds later, just a few seconds after third stage ignition of a single RD-212 engine. That will burn for almost 4 minutes in the final stage of powered flight, creating an additional 138,000 pounds of thrust to place the multipurpose laboratory module into its preliminary orbit, with a final assist from 4 small Vernier engines that will burn for 12 additional seconds after third stage shutdown. Spacecraft separation from the third stage of the Proton is scheduled 9 minutes and 40 seconds into the flight. At that point, Nauka should be at an altitude of about 125 miles, beginning this 8-day journey, raising its altitude in a very incremental fashion to match that of the International Space Station for an automated docking 8 days from now. Today's operations, following launch and following the arrival of the multipurpose laboratory module into its preliminary orbit, will be under the control of Russian flight controllers at the Russian Mission Control Center on the outskirts of Moscow. They are monitoring all of the systems of the MLM and all of the systems of the Proton rocket. The first 9 minutes and 40 seconds to be governed by technicians in a blockhouse in Baikanour. This is a different launch site than is used for piloted Soyuz missions and unpiloted Progress missions. The Nauka multipurpose laboratory module and the Proton M rocket rolled out to the launch pad 39, on a rail car back on Saturday, following its integration and the stacking of the 3 stages of the Proton M rocket. It took almost 2 hours for this rollout to take place in the desert. You can see a video that was provided by Roscosmos and Teleport Luch of the rollout activities as the Proton M made its way to the launch pad, where it was hoisted vertically. A service tower was wrapped around the structure, where electrical and fuel lines were hooked up, and final checks were made over the past several days.
We're currently sitting at T-minus 21
About 3
minutes.
hours ago, the 4 astronauts aboard the Crew Dragon Endeavour completed the first phase of today's galactic twin bill with a relocation from one port on the Harmony module, the forward port of Harmony, to the zenith port of Harmony, as you can see in this replay, as the Crew Dragon Endeavour moved in for a smooth and uneventful link-up to the international docking adapter on the space-facing port of the Harmony module at 6:35 a.m. Central Time. Hooks were closed a few minutes later, and the 4 astronauts on board the Endeavour, Shane Kimbrough, Megan MacArthur, Aki Hoshide, the ISS commander, and Thomas Pesquet of the European Space Agency opened hatches a couple of hours later and moved back inside the International Space Station. That port relocation earlier this morning now frees up the forward port of the Harmony module for the arrival of the Boeing Starliner spacecraft that is scheduled to make a test flight with a launch from the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station on July 30th and an automated docking to that forward port of Harmony 24 hours later on July 31st.
Space Force Station, but same thing. The Angara, yes, there's 5 versions of it that have been...
Clocks continue to tick backward towards launch, less than 20 minutes and 30 seconds from now. All of the preparations have gone very well. The fueling of the rocket was completed several hours ago. The weather down in Baikanour is ideal, not a cloud in the sky. Temperatures 94 degrees Fahrenheit. At the time of launch, at 9:58 and 25 seconds a.m. Central Time, 7:58 and 25 seconds p.m. in Baikanour, 30 minutes before sunset, the International Space Station will be traveling 262 miles above the Earth, flying over northeast China. Once Nauka begins its 8-day journey to the International Space Station, a series of other key events will be forthcoming. On Friday, the unpiloted ISS Progress 77 cargo craft, which is currently docked to the Pirs docking compartment on the Earth-facing port of the Russian segment of the International Space Station, will undock and extract the Pirs docking compartment, completing 20 years of service for Pirs to the International Space Station, where it served as both a docking port and an airlock for Russian spacewalks. The engines on the Progress will fire later that day for about 18 minutes or so in a deorbit maneuver that will send the Progress and the Pirs into a fiery reentry into the Earth's atmosphere, where the 2 spacecraft will burn up over the Pacific Ocean. The Pirs launched back in September of 2001, has been a venerable workhorse for the Russian side of the International Space Station, again serving as a docking port and an airlock for spacewalk activity. Once that undocking takes place, within a few hours after that, the Canadarm2 robotic arm will be positioned to do a very detailed survey with video cameras of the vacated docking port where Pirs has called home for the past 2 decades. That video will be analyzed by Russian flight controllers, and if they see anything untoward, such as debris or something of that nature, consideration could be given as early as this weekend, with the approval of the International Space Station program, for the 2 cosmonauts on board the station, Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov, to conduct a contingency spacewalk next Tuesday, July 27th, to clean that docking port while the multipurpose laboratory module is still en route to the International Space Station. The odds of that happening are quite low. We expect that docking port to be clean, but we will be conducting a detailed survey using the Canadarm2 cameras to ensure that the MLM has a clean docking port for which to execute an automated docking on July 29th.
We are currently sitting at T-minus 17 minutes and counting for the launch of today's Proton M. There's that clock on. But if you're just joining us, welcome to the launch pad. My name's Zach. I'm the host here at the pad. We cover everything space, and you're watching a live coverage of the launch of Proton M, carrying a brand new module to the International Space Station. If you scroll back about 6-7 minutes, they went through everything on board. It is a packed, very small module, but has a lot of stuff on board, including a new toilet, so another multi-million-dollar toilet on its way up. But if you're new, take a moment, like the video, and subscribe. If you have questions, as always, you can drop those in the chat, hashtag AskTLP. We're keeping an eye on it, but everything is progressing well towards the launch attempt here today from Baikanour. As they mentioned, this is a different launch site at Baikanour than we normally see, so nice to see some activity. I know we had a question from Adar1 about the Angara. So the first version of the Angara has been cancelled, but there are 5 other versions of it proposed, and no real news about that. Thanks for the support there, Kenneth. Appreciate that. And this is a great shot to point out again, those are not solid rocket boosters like we see on the Delta and some of the other rockets that we've seen in history. Those are just fuel tanks that all feed into the main system for this rocket. So an interesting design choice, but that is what they have. Ray Nubis, what channel were you showing us before NASA came on? Just curious. So we also have open is Roscosmos. This is the official Russia stream. So we jump back and forth depending on kind of who's got the best views for it. We generally jump to Roscosmos when they actually do the launch, because sometimes they click through the feed and have the count on it as well. So try to jump between the two of them just to see who's got the better coverage for the launches. Roscosmos is the one launching, so generally they do. They also stream in a little bit higher than NASA's. I'm not even sure if you could call that 720p. We're streaming in 1440. If I can stream in 1440, come on, NASA. 720? Really? Come on. Let's upgrade some of those space station cameras. But they are preparing. We're just passing that T-minus 15-minute mark for the launch of the Proton M rocket.
Mode, as it is called, basically internal power, ready to begin its journey to deliver the multipurpose laboratory module into its preliminary orbit.
So we'll cut in and out, listening in, seeing what they say. We don't have the Russian audio on because it'd just be Russian. If you want to listen to that, just YouTube search Roscosmos, you'll find it. But it looks like a pretty clear day in the middle of the Kazakhstan desert. That's where they'll be launching from. First Proton launch in over a year. Last one was in July 2020. Don't see them too often anymore. They've had over 111 launches in their history, 100 successes, 9 failures, and 2 partial failures. One of the most historic one was they inputted the accelerometers upside down, so it launched and flipped in the air. It was really good. Sean O'Brien, good to see you. Have there been any recent updates?
Coming up on the T-minus 13-minute mark, about 3 minutes from now, ground controllers at Baikanour will activate the Proton M's launch abort capability, should that become necessary. And a final pull of the launch conductor down in Baikanour is expected at about the T-minus 5-minute mark.
Any updates on the Axiom modules? Nothing yet. Axiom announced their first crew, and they're just working on all that. They had to make some changes because originally there was going to be 2 Axiom missions on Crew Dragon, and then 2 of them were going to be on either Crew Dragon or Starliner. They've now committed to Starliner, so they're working out all of those plans, but they are working on them. Modules generally aren't something we get a lot of progress updates on, unless there's a big moment of they sleeve the whole module or something like that. Hey Daniel, good to see you. Yes, Delta 2 was did I miss something? I might have missed something there. Yeah, Delta 2 had a number of launches. They've finally installed one at Kennedy Space Center for demo in that rocket garden, so we're excited to go see one of those in person this September. But we are coming down to the final 10 minutes or so until launch of the Proton M to the International Space Station. Will take about 8.5 days for its rendezvous, as they will be separating the old module and cargo ship from the space station in 2 days. We'll try to bring that to you live. That stream is scheduled. And then they want to take some time to make sure the port is clean, it's all a safe region, before they dock this new one. Because once you dock a module, you don't just undock it for it. So they're going to take that time, check it out with the cameras. If they have to, they probably could schedule a spacewalk if they need to clean it, and then go from there. So we're going to listen back in as we come down to T-minus 10 minutes and counting for the launch of Proton M.
4 major maneuvers to begin raising the altitude of the new module as it begins its slow climb to reach and match the same orbit as the International Space Station for docking on July 29th. Unlike a Soyuz booster that you're familiar seeing on those launch pads at the Baikanour Cosmodrome, there are no umbilical towers, simply a service structure that was moved away from the Proton M a few hours ago after the fueling and the final systems checks had been completed by launch engineers in Baikanour. Inside 10 minutes now until launch. The report from the blockhouse in Baikanour is that they are now confirming that the Proton M is on autonomous power, ready to begin its flight a little over 8.5 minutes from now. Everything is in order in Baikanour. All the reports indicate a smooth countdown. The Proton M is ready to begin its mission to deliver the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module into its preliminary orbit.
Very interesting question from Ali. What do you guys think will happen with the orbital Starship launch? Let us know in the chat. Think it'll explode? Think it'll not re-enter? Let us know. Hopefully we will be on site either while they're preparing it or for the launch of it as well.
T-minus 7 minutes and counting. Everything in readiness.
Won't explode on the way up. They double check everything, make sure it's working correctly.
Once again, at the time of launch, the International Space Station and its 7-person crew will be flying 262 statute miles above the Earth over northeast China. The Proton will arc out to the northeast from its launch pad at the Baikanour Cosmodrome in pursuit for an 8-day journey to reach the international outpost.
Let's hoping there's no civilian boats at the launch site or at the little splashdown site. That won't happen. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Starship will burn up on re-entry the first time, but we'll see. The 28 Raptors is a lot, and they're going to go to 33 for the final operational versions. We're coming down to T-minus 5 minutes and counting until launch. Not that great about restarting engines. It's true. Aw, that's sweet, Kenneth. I mean, that's sad, but that's sweet. Yeah, we haven't really seen a lot of testing of the heat shield. I'm sure they've done some simulated testing or actual, like, setting one up, blowing fire at it. But we'll have to see what happens. Yeah, unscheduled disassembly.
Coming up on the 4.5 minute mark until launch. The countdown continues flawlessly so far. No issues being reported from Baikanour.
Hypersonic test, that'd be interesting to see. Absolutely. Oh, it'll be stressed on re-entry. Absolutely. Yes, Daniel. Yeah, Hubble is finally back online. The switch to backup worked, and it should actually be starting to do its first science, I believe, today or yesterday. So it's nice to hear that that is back, but though exciting, is also bittersweet because now we know we don't have a backup.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
So if anything goes wrong, Hubble would be done at this point until we have some sort of vessel that can go, which would be Starship. So it's nice that it's back. Hoping and praying we don't have any other issues. We're at T-minus about 3.5 minutes here. They're getting ready for their launch of the Proton M. As always, at about that 1 minute mark, we always ask
3.5 minutes until launch. Again, this is the first time a Proton rocket will have launched a module to the International Space Station since the launch of the Zvezda service module 21 years ago.
We always ask you guys, our crew, to give a go, no go in the chat at that about 1 minute
T-minus 3 minutes
mark.
and counting.
Coming down to 3 minutes here. Nice sunset launch from Kazakhstan. T-minus 2 minutes. Yeah, let's see those goes in the chats. Let's see if the things are ready.
T-minus 2 minutes and counting. Flight recorders now activated.
I would fly point-to-point starships in about 15 to 20 years once it's proven. But the first ones, I think we could see a lot of point-to-point cargo. Like, could you imagine Amazon moving cargo on starships? Not even same-day delivery. You're talking 6-hour delivery on the other side of the world. Could be interesting. T-minus 90 seconds. Just that if you're wearing headphones, headphone warning, this could be loud. T-minus 60 seconds.
And we are now T-minus 1 minute and counting.
This is LT launches go. That's awesome. You guys are awesome.
T-minus 40 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds.
T-minus 20 seconds, standing by for the initiation of the launch sequence.
Here we go.
T-minus 10 seconds.
Ignition
Engine start
and liftoff.
A module named Science takes flight to the International Space Station.
Okay, I guess they muted the speaker from Russia. But there we go. Proton M on its way to the International Space Station.
Good stage 1 ignition.
There's that rumble.
Roll, pitch, and yaw programmer in. Nominal pressure reported in the 6 first stage engines. 40 seconds into the flight. Good stabilization on the vehicle.
And we are going to quickly jump back to the Russia
Coming
one.
up on the 1 minute mark into the flight. All
There we
engines running normally. Now going through the period of maximum dynamic pressure on the Proton M. Good vehicle performance reported from the blockhouse in Baikanour. One minute, 30 seconds into the flight. One minute, 45 seconds into the flight. About 20 seconds left for first stage performance. Second stage ignition. And first stage separation.
There we go.
Two minutes, 25 seconds into the flight. Good stabilization on the vehicle. 4 second stage engines up and running. They'll burn for about 3.5 minutes. Yaw pitch and roll program reported to have nominal parameters so far as we approach the 3 minute mark into the flight. The Proton tracking right down the line. The flight is proceeding normally, coming up on the 3.5 minute mark into the flight.
Yeah, more cameras would be amazing. But they don't really get anything out of them. SpaceX actually makes money because they sell like apparel and everything. But we do get these sweet animations, though. No more just that flat map with a dot that moves.
Four minutes into the flight, good chamber pressures reported for the 4 second stage engines. About 5 minutes and 40 seconds of powered flight remaining.
Oh, did they? They don't normally. They normally cut away earlier.
The altitude and downrange distance matching pre-launch predictions. Four and a half minutes in, 5 minutes and 10 seconds of powered flight remaining. These 4 second stage engines providing more than 500,000 pounds of thrust. Good vehicle stabilization reported by the launch control team in Baikanour. So far, so good.
Thanks for that update, Jude. That's good to know. Yeah, I see. Yeah, they kept that up a little bit longer. It was just white dots, though. So we're coming up about 10 seconds away from the next stage. 5.5
minutes into the flight. Just over 4 minutes of powered flight remaining.
And there we go. There's staging onto the third stage. Stand by for fairing jettison.
Third stage ignition.
2,
and second stage
1.
Separation confirmed.
Jettison fairing.
And payload fairing has been jettisoned.
And now we've got about 3 minutes until main engine cutoff.
Just over 6 minutes into the flight, everything is reported to be proceeding in great fashion. The multi-purpose laboratory module now being boosted on the final stage of its powered flight through the single RD-212 engine, which will burn for another 3 minutes plus, creating an additional 138,000 pounds of thrust. Good pressure in the third stage engine, coming up on the 7-minute mark into the flight.
There you
7
can
minutes
see,
in, 2 minutes, 40 seconds of powered flight remaining.
You can see on the image there some of the kind of ports and stuff on board the module. Yeah, they get quite high up there once before they jettison. Thanks, David. Good to have you around. If you're new, don't forget to engage the subscribe button, join the community, and we'll see you here more.
7.5 minutes into the flight, everything looking good. Just over 2 minutes of powered flight remaining.
So quick, 9.5 minutes and we get something into space. So good. Yeah, the animation's actually really nice. Panning shots. Now, could you imagine if we actually had this for like the first Starship flight? Ooh, that'd be good. You're amazing, Virginia. Someone should call space. Is that palm trees?
We've just passed the 8-minute mark into the flight. About another minute and a half to go. Once the third stage shuts down, there'll be another 12-second firing of vernier engines before spacecraft separation, and then the command to deploy the Nauka's solar arrays and navigational antennas. All structural parameters on the third stage in great shape. 8 minutes 40 seconds in, 1 minute of powered flight remaining.
They'll be flying overnight now, so even the animation's representing that.
9 minutes 10 seconds into the flight. 30 seconds of powered flight remaining.
Yeah, it really is, Ali. Absolutely. 25,000, coming up on 26,000 kilometers an hour. Almost at its maximum.
Good yaw, good roll, good pitch. MLM right on the money so far. 9 minutes 30 seconds in, standing by for third stage shutdown and spacecraft separation.
It is 20,350
We have third stage shutdown and separation.
There we go. The module weighs 20,350 kilograms, right on the maximum of a Proton M rocket. It's 13.12 meters long and 4.25 meters in diameter. Has 70 meters cubed of pressurized volume. 6 cubed meters for science equipment, and 4.9 meters for cargo and volume. And just like that, they are done. They are up. They are in orbit, and have completed. We'll listen in here for another minute or two, but we're probably going to wrap it up there, as they have completed that deployment. We'll see if they show us anything else from it. But it looks like they have
the multipurpose laboratory module has separated from the third stage. We are standing by for confirmation of deployment.
Docking will be
and we now have confirmation of solar array and navigational antenna deployment.
Fantastic.
All external appendages have been deployed. Nauka en route to the International Space Station.
And that's gonna do it. That's the launch. I'll catch up on a couple questions here. Yep, main engine cut off, and we now have separation. Yes, China has their own space station right now. China and Russia are doing a lunar space station on the surface, but that's more than a decade out. But they are working on that. There's rumors of a Russian space station. And rumors that Russia may visit the Chinese space station and could maybe dock some modules like they do the ISS, but nothing confirmed yet. So we'll have to see. But Russia and China are definitely becoming friends in the space industry. Yeah, everybody's getting good at these things. Docking Cosmo will be in about 8 days. We've got the live stream scheduled already, so if you go to our channel, you can get reminders for it. In 2 days, we will have the undocking of the old module from the ISS. And then about 7 days later, we have the docking, as they want to make sure the port's clean and prepared for the new module. Yeah, they didn't show us the panel deployment this time, but that is okay in that animation. Thanks, David, so much. Let me quickly transition that kilograms to pounds. It is 44, just short of 45,000 pounds. Just short of 44,000 pounds. It's 13 meters, which is 42 feet long, and its diameter is 13.5 feet. So quite a good sized station, but that's what it'll do there. Will you cover the... Yes, I will. Yeah, we've got the undocking and the docking both pre-scheduled, so jump on over to our channels like main page, and you can see upcoming live streams, and you'll see those as well as our Starline coverage. And if there is a Starlink thrown in there, we will add that as well. Now time to recreate this in Kerbal After Work. We might do that tonight on the landing pad. We'll see. Tonight we also might be joining on to another broadcast. We're just working to finalize some details. So if you haven't yet, follow us over on Twitter at @TLPN_official. That's where you can keep track, and we will tweet if we are going live and where we're going live tonight, but possibly very excited for that. If you haven't yet, subscribe, like this video, join our Discord as well, but that's going to wrap it up for us here today, as they have completed their deployment of the module, and it's on its way to the International Space Station. But join the Discord, keep the chat going. I've got a meeting to jump into that we were just able to squeeze in here, so thank you guys for joining us here today. My name's Zach. Here at the Launchpad, we cover everything space, and this was our live launch coverage of a Proton M rocket carrying the new Nauka, the new Russian module to the International Space Station that's planned on docking in just about a week. Lots of live streams coming up, some flash news updates, and an exclusive interview with the full crew of Inspiration 4 coming very soon as well. But for now, that's going to do it for us here at the Launchpad. This is Zach signing off. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you later today.